Welcome to Fast Politics.
It's great to be back with you. Love fast politics.
So, trade wars are if you're laser focused on affordability,
Yeah.
why would you go to trade war with Canada?
Or anybody. I don't know. I think we've got to stop because of our own mental health. We have to stop trying to figure out why they're doing what they're doing because there's no rational basis for this. Like the tariff thing is it's personal, it's ego. I think
Right.
he's probably leveraging back deal money to negotiate lower rates. There's no rational policy. There's no true solid economist that would say any of this is good for
Right.
affordability, for the economy, for growth, for anything. None of it. There's not, this isn't taught in any economic school anywhere.
I also think like he has everything. When you have only a hammer, everything is a nail. So he
Yeah.
said that he's going to rename Lake Ontario, right? Lake America.
Yeah, yes. Is it technically the Gulf of America now? Or is it just there
It
to it, but the rest of the world doesn't, right? It's just like
a-
its own thing.
asked the Associated Press, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Strait of Hormuz is gonna be the Strait of Mar-a-Lago or something. Is that
Right,
it?
the Strait of Exxon.
Yeah.
So the Strait of Trump. So let's talk about this because all of this happens within the we are cruising into the midterm election,
Mm.
and we have this no historical precedent for a president this unpopular in modern. He is like there's the Bush line, and then there's the are we at the Bush on after Katrina line? Where are we here? We're at the
Yeah,
Nixon right before resigning line?
yeah. There aren't really historical parallels, I don't think, and I think that people kind of floating those out there they're really more pundits than they are political professionals because the coalitions are totally different. So it's kind of it's like truly an apples to oranges comparison. It doesn't make any sense, but I guess it plays well online.
So
Look,
what are the
yeah, so let me explain.
coalitions?
So look, Republicans by their constitution now have been are the beneficiaries of high turnout elections because their base has gotten less educated, less informed on issues, and less engaged, lower propensity as we call them in the trade. Democrats have been winning these lower turnout elections, which are midterms, and doing better, outperforming because their coalitions become more college educated, more informed, and more frankly, more rabid at the idea of getting rid of Donald Trump and the Republicans. So it begins structurally advantaging Democrats, but you add on the fact that literally nothing is going well for Trump and the Republicans. Nothing is going well. Like he's not over 50% on anything. And not only are his approvals in the low 30s, but the people who believe the country is heading in the right direction is sitting about 24, 25. So there's a big gap between how people feel where the country is doing and who he is. That's an even bigger warning sign, which means there's more floor to drop out as opposed to ceiling to rise. So there's a structural problem, there's a political environment problem, there's all sorts of problems. The economic indicators are worse than they've been in the last 50 years. Nothing is going right. And that leads us to, again, I think this New York Times today saying there's multiple pathways to the Senate.
Right.
The generic ballot, I think, is going to open up the double digits by the time we're in November. This people keep saying, "Well, what do the Republicans need to do to fix this?" Everything, but the likelihood of this getting worse is greater than it getting better for Republicans.
And what would getting worse look like?
I don't know because it's already
Mm.
unprecedented. Further economic collapse, the food supply
Right.
getting poisoned. Oh, wait, we're
Right.
already there, right? Like gas hitting $5 a gallon, very likely
Right.
possibility because Iran has no reason to get out of the quagmire or let us up off of the mat.
Yeah.
The trade war with Canada getting worse. Yeah. More Epstein information. Sure. Like all of this is more likely than not. So I guess that's what it gets worse. But can he go below this low 30s approval level? Yes. Yes, he can.
Yeah.
For 8 years, Molly, I thought there's no way that you can break down below a 38, 39. I thought once he goes under 40, that's unprecedented territory. If you had told me any time during the past 8 years, and I've been watching these approvals with Republicans, especially like a hawk, to find out when this fever swamp would break in the GOP, I would say never. It's never going to get down below 35. We're already in that territory, and most of the fundamentals say it can go lower.
I want you have been on the road in
Yeah.
Texas, and I really wanted you to come on because I saw You have been in Texas. You have been talking to some very interesting candidates. I
Yeah.
want you to, I want, first of all, I want you to explain
Mhm.
what happened with Hispanic voters
Mhm.
in Texas and then sort of what you're seeing now. Because
Yeah.
there's a history here too.
There's a long history, and as Molly, I've been watching the Latino vote for about 35 years now, back when it wasn't that interesting.
Right.
Now it's become kind of the balance of power and everything else, and it's the only really group that's swinging 20 points in either direction. There's no other voter group that's really a true swing voting bloc. So look, I wrote a book, as you call the Latino Century, before the 24 election, saying there's a very good chance, guys, with all these indicators, that Donald Trump's going to win election with a record share of the Hispanic vote, and nobody took it seriously. Afterwards, the book kind of blew up, and it was like, "Oh my god, why didn't you tell us earlier?"
Right.
Which, of course, I was. And the answer really was that there was a problem with the economics and the coalition of the working class that the Democratic Party was struggling with, and still is struggling with.
Right.
And so, you add on to that some of these cultural issues, and they're not when I say cultural issues, I'm always nervous because everybody assumes, oh, it's the Catholic pro-life, and these are all people going to mass and they're anti-gay. None of that is true. None of that is accurate. This is really largely, especially in this part of the country, a very rural community. They're cowboys, right?
Right.
These are gun owners. They're hunters. Like everybody that I went and saw have gun racks and guns, and they live in rural areas. Their next neighbor is 2 miles away, and they all
Right.
ride horses and grow hay. So, like,
And
go ahead. And
you got to a very exciting candidate too. I want you to work
I
that in
did.
there.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. So I decided to go to Texas because that's where all my polling is showing all these big moves, and there were 2 candidates I sat down with. James Tallarico.
Right.
I talked to Tallarico about these questions specifically. It was really phenomenal what's happening with that campaign. But the other is this guy named Bobby Polito, which is gonna become a very big name after November. The Democratic Party, as much as it's focused and eating itself on the DSA versus corporate Democrats, Bobby Polito, I think, is gonna change the whole narrative of the Democratic Party in terms of getting this vote back into play. Bobby Polito is a two-time Latin Grammy award-winning Tejano singer. He is like Mick Jagger in this part of the country. And it's Texas wide, but certainly in the South Texas area, especially the Rio Grande. And he is going into the reddest counties. I wrote an article in my Substack on a city called Beeville. Beeville is a 13 city of 13,000 people, 70% Hispanic, 70% Trump voting county. He did a concert for free. He and James Tallarico, Gina Hinojosa, 3,000, about 3,000 people showed up, Molly, and just in love with this guy. And if he even just closes the margin in a city like Beeville, Tallarico wins Texas. Polito wins this congressional seat, and the whole narrative of the Democratic Party losing this base vote, I think, begins to change. So, like I said, I went down there, spent a few days there, going to Whataburger and Dairy Queen and talking to folks. And a lot of these people were saying, "Yeah, look, I met this one young Hispanic waitress at the one steakhouse in town, and she's 23, 24. Her family's been in Beeville for like 4 or 5 generations." She said, "Look, I'm conservative. I'm a Republican, but Bobby Polito's different. Like, I'm voting for Bobby Polito because he's one of us. He understands us. He understands our values." So when I say our values, she makes a distinction from where the Republican Party and the Democratic Party lay their stakes on what they stand for in political value vernacular. What she's really saying is this guy is of our community. He understands us, and I trust him with what he's going to be doing when he goes to Washington, D.C. So this is a Trump plus 18 district. Trump won it by 18 points, and most of the polling has Bobby Polito up 6 or 7 points. That's a full
Wow.
23-point
Wow.
swing. And I think that, again, there's 3 or 4 candidates down there in this area, cowboy hat wearing, belt buckles as big as that part of Texas, who are unabashedly pro-Hispanic, but they're cowboys, true and true, and they're Texans, and they're proud of it, and they're saying this guy Trump's gotta go, and Abbott and Paxton gotta go, and we need a new direction, and it's just you can feel there's a palpable energy that I think is gonna really ignite not just that congressional district and Texas, but really, I think, the national narrative for the Democratic Party.
Now, Texas has been redistricted to
Yeah,
help Trump.
this is one of those
These
states. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
say more about how that will
Yeah.
Because Rio Grande, remember, was the Beto seed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
So
talk
this
us
is
through that.
this is that area where the Republicans, when they went and go, "Oh, see, the Hispanics finally figured it out." They woke up and realized that they were Republicans. Trump puts in a call to Greg Abbott and says, "Hey, we're in trouble. We're going to lose the midterms. We need you to redistrict, gerrymander us 5 new seats, cut up Texas again, and create 5 new seats." Well, Texas was already pretty gerrymandered, Molly. And the only way they could go was they started to believe that all of these Hispanics who voted Republican, and frankly, they have been for the past 3 or 4 election cycles. They have been since the Obama years. They've been moving away
Right.
from the Democrats. But the big one, when everybody realized, oh my God, we got a really big problem, was in the Trump's 2024 race. And so what they did was they cut out 3 of these 5 new Republican, quote unquote, Republican seats are Hispanic majority seats. And that led a lot of people to use the term dummy man, or myself included. Like there's no
Mhm.
evidence saying these people were becoming more Republican. There's a lot of evidence saying they're becoming less Democrat. That's
Right.
true. But nobody's saying that. There's no polling, no scientific evidence saying these people love Donald Trump or like him. And
And
and when as soon as they started cutting those numbers, and by the way, to kind of bring this full circle, when he announced on Liberation Day all of these tariffs against Canada with lumber and Mexico with drywall and shut down the housing industry, it's all Mexican workers who are building. Virtually every house in America is built by
yeah.
a Mexican worker swinging a hammer. So you saw the economy really, really deeply contract, and it is economics first and foremost. The ICE raids and stuff. I know this will come as a shock to your audience. Yes, they are impactful, but the truth is that really strikes anger and fear in the heart of white progressives more than it does conservative Hispanics. And
But
down there,
your relatives are being deported? I mean,
but
because
relatives, when you've been here for
because
5 generations, you don't have a whole lot of relatives on that side of the border.
yes, but also, like, if you think about in Florida, we saw Cuban voters who
Yeah,
considered themselves to be more American than most Americans,
yeah,
having relatives be deported, and they
yeah.
were shocked.
Yeah, and that's never happened with the Cubans before because the Cuban exceptionalism is a real thing with the Latino
Right.
diasporas. But don't let's not conflate Cubans in South
Right.
Florida with
Right.
Tejanos in South Texas.
No, I know, it's a completely different group, yeah,
Completely different group. So, but yeah, look, I'm not saying that isn't an issue. It is, but what I'm
but
saying
it's
is,
not as big
well,
an
but what
issue
I'm
as
saying is kind of my friends on the left have this obsessive dynamic where they got need to kind of make Latinos this exotic little creature that's all
Right.
focused on immigration. It's frankly, it's condescending. The truth is,
Right.
it's really clear what's going on. It's the damn economy. It's always
Right.
been the economy, the economy, the economy. And if you start fixing the economy and focus on the economy and fix that problem, a lot of these other major authoritarian problems go away because you're not losing working class people. It's just when you
Right.
forgot about the working class, you left open this vacuum for this demagogue to fill it. And that's, I think, the big problem that we got to fix in this country.
When you talk about, so it sounds like what's happening in Texas is pretty specific to Texas, which is what we're seeing in other places. Like what's happening in Nebraska is very specific to Nebraska. What's happening in Iowa with Rob Sand is very specific to the
Yeah.
groundwater and the farmers and the tariffs. So in Texas, you have these 5 seats that are these Latino
Mhm.
seats, right? And I want you to explain what it is that these candidates are offering the voters.
Yeah, but I wanna qualify this just a little bit because I think you did characterize something that is important. Yes, Rob Sand in Iowa, DSA in New York City and Los Angeles, Cubans in South Florida, Tejanos in Texas, but there is one common thread, and this is where Tallarico really hits it on the head, and Ossoff is starting to pick up on it too. The common thread that unites us is this economic chasm that is developing where people feel they're
Right.
falling further and further behind. That's what's uniting people together across all of these, the racial identity politics and all the division of all of these issues. It all starts to melt away when somebody starts to put into English language that people can relate to, saying the corruption of this regime is starting to affect our daily lives. The cost of things is incontrovertible. Even when he tells you it's a hoax, you either believe your wallet and your gas tank or you believe your lying eyes with Donald Trump. There is a middle class revolt that has been united. So, yes,
Right.
yes, there are regional differences. Bobby Polito is not going to sell in Los Angeles the same way Abdul El Sayed is going to sell in the Rio Grande. That's not going
Right.
to, but they can both talk about And this is not just being anti-Trump. I do believe the Democratic Party is finally starting to find its damn legs, which is they're
Yeah.
starting to articulate agendas to fix these problems. And that's what you're seeing with some of these candidates, whether they're on the left wing of the party or the more centrist wing of the party. They're all saying the same thing. Now, in Texas, it begins again with the economy. People are economically suffering. The beef fiasco is incredibly real down there. These are cattle
Ex
ranchers. Yeah.
Right, explain the beef fiasco, because
So,
that's important.
yeah,
That's another fucked up thing that Trump is doing to himself right before the
himself. Yeah,
midterms.
Donald Trump is subsidizing Argentinian beef farmers and on the literally killing off the businesses. 5 generations of cattle ranchers in Texas are in up in arms because he's subsidizing Argentinian beef at the expense of American beef farmers. Like crazy.
Crazy.
These were his hardest
Crazy.
core supporters, and he's just sticking poking a stick in their eye. And then again, the tariffs. It's not just with Canada, it's with Mexico, right? It's like this
Right.
fight, this trade war, and then harming yes, the deportations are eliminating the ability for agriculture and construction to work. That's what was happening in Florida. That's what's happening in California. That's what's happening in Texas. So yes, all of these policies, you have to begin at some point to ask the question, is this just basic incompetence, or is he so competently undermining the country for another nefarious reason? Like, that's a very reasonable question to ask at this point because you can't be that stupid.
No, you can be.
Fair enough.
I don't know, maybe. I think you probably can be. No, I want you to explain to us now, where are the other states where we're seeing Latino voter? Because you've been in some other
Yeah.
states. I want you to
So
talk through that.
well, so and here's the thing, there's like 17 really key congressional House seats. Over half
Mhm.
of those, the Hispanic vote is gonna make the difference. And
Right.
when you start to look at the North Carolina, Georgias, those are already locking those up in the Democratic column, but you've got huge Hispanic communities there now too. You gotta look at Texas, of course, it's gonna be everything. Does Tallarico win? Yes, depending on the margin he gets with Hispanics, specifically Hispanic men. Gina Hinojosa is tightening up against Abbott. They may lose the governor's seat here if Gina Hinojosa wins, and she did a really good job too at this free concert in Beeville. And then these 5 congressional seats where the Hispanic candidates I think are gonna do really quite well. I'm in Denver now, looking at Manny Rutinel's seat just outside of Denver. This is a key battleground seat, one of the most contested races where you've got a Hispanic candidate, big Hispanic voting bloc that could bring this into the win column, likely will for the Democrats. Randy Villegas out in California's 22 against David Valadao, one of the most susceptible, vulnerable Republicans in the country because of his vote on HR1, the Medicare stuff. That district has some of the highest rates of Medicare recipients in the entire country in that district. And this guy votes against Medicare, votes for Medicare cuts. Unbelievable, stupid politics. So a long way of saying, of all these 17 seats, most of them will be determined the outcome by the Hispanic vote. There's these 4 that I just mentioned that are really, really critical, this core 4. But we're also looking at control of the Senate. If Hispanics break for Democrats the same way they broke for Republicans, and most of the polling is saying they will, the Democrats pick up the Senate and they
So
pick up
what
certainly the House.
so that would be what seats would the Latino vote be decisive
Well,
in the Senate?
certainly North Carolina, certainly,
Alright.
Georgia, but those are already moving in that direction, but in large part because, again, like I said, these votes that are swinging this way matter. Texas, of course, matters. Iowa is gonna be really critical. You've got 6,
Right.
7%. Ohio, the Latino vote in Ohio will be determinative. These races that are gonna come down to 2 or 3 points, you're gonna have the Hispanic vote break is going to be the deciding factor. And when it was voting almost 50% for Trump in Ohio, if it's now voting for 20% for the Republican, you're gonna have to put that in the win column for the Democrats.
I want you to just say 2 more things about Ohio. What do they like Vivek? Talk
No.
us through.
No, but I'm look, and these nuanced questions are really, really critical. I think Vivek's I kinda like watching him suffer and struggle like one with white evangelical rural Christians. It's like, look, this is what you get. But look, the fundamentals are so bad when you're looking at Texas in play and North Carolina safely being locked up and Ossoff walking away in Georgia. You have to understand that's a sign that the fundamentals of this race are far bigger than like these fights the Democrats are worried about. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a DSA candidate or a centrist Democrat in 99% of the seats. It doesn't matter. A tree stump could win in most of these seats because people are so pissed off. And so most of the energy, look, it's natural. We're going to do that. It's politics, but there's just way too much hand wringing going on in Democratic primaries right now on this fight about Democratic socialists and whether they can win or not. The reason or the determining factor on whether these guys are gonna win or not are by far and away the basic fundamentals of the race, how unpopular the incumbent party is, how bad the economy is, how unpopular and pissed off and fatigued people are with Donald Trump, the cost of gas, like, there's nothing going well. So, yes, people like Vivek. People in Ohio are not gonna like, Vivek Ramaswamy for a whole host of reasons we can kinda list off. But the main reason is everything is breaking against them. And in an environment where he needs a lot more going right for him to win, there's nothing going in that direction.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Mike Madrid.
Always great to be with you, Molly. Hope it was helpful.